Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 350. I am Brendan. Bellator 301, Yaroslav Amosov versus Jason Jackson, and the rest. We're going to cover the main card in this video. This went down in Chicago. I was not able to go. Kind of don't think I missed out on much. There was some fun fights. There were some fun things that did happen, so we will talk about those. Before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. That way you know when the next video is coming out, so if you like this kind of stuff. And also, if you do like this video, hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Let's talk about the main event. Yaroslav Amosov versus Jason Jackson. Okay, also, if you're looking for a specific fight, timestamps are down below. Jackson was keeping Amosov on the back foot, not giving him any space. When they trade 1-2s, they go back and forth in the clinch. Amosov keeps taking him, attempting takedowns, but Jackson shucks them off. Close round, both guys had moments. I really thought this first round came down to pressure. Now, normally that's like the least important thing, right? You think about it like, damage is number one, control is number two, and then the very last thing is like cage control or octagon control in the UFC. Well, this one, I thought everything was close. I thought everything was so close to call, like I couldn't pick a person who did more damage. I thought they did about the same. I thought the takedown attempts from Amosov were good attempts at offense, but he wasn't controlling the cage when he did that. In fact, he took damage for his troubles. So I gave this first round to Jackson. Second round, neither guy not really landing a clean shot for most of the fight. They start the fight and they're relatively tentative. Neither one of them wants to commit too much. Amosov keeps going for those takedowns. They're just not working. Jackson lands a nice knee defending against the takedown. A few uppercuts on Amosov when he's ducking his head. Jason, he's landing these beautiful uppercuts over and over, and Amosov just keeps eating them. Like, he doesn't adjust what he's doing. He keeps leaving himself open, and they're there all day. Amosov, he got the back body lock against the fence to end the round, but he just was not able to land anything offensive. He was just holding. So I gave this the second round to Jason Jackson. First two rounds to Jason Jackson, 20-18. Last round, Jackson catches a kick and presses him to the cage and lands a couple shots. Jackson landing an uppercut yet again and a knee. They trade in the middle. Jackson lands a hard right hand and Amosov goes down, and it's all over. It was pretty rough. There were some really nice shots in here in these sequences. Boom, that right hand put him down. It finishes up with this. They get back up. And right behind the ear, and it's all over. Yeah, man, Jackson is now the champion at welterweight. It's a fantastic fight for him. He's got a great story, obviously, coming from nothing in Jamaica, calling himself the Jamaican Monster Nightmare. Cool. I'd like to see him get a little bit more notoriety from Bellator, a little bit more push. He's not as notable as some of the other guys, but he's plenty exciting. He's got good wrestling, great power in his hands. I am excited to see what he does in the future. It's a tough break for Amosov. I don't think his focus has been completely on fighting for the past for the past year at least, due to what's going on in Ukraine. That's not an excuse. It's just, we're just taking in all the information that we can here. And my guess would be that he could come back and do a better job, especially not ducking his head and going for stupid takedowns. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that Jackson is the real deal. Great fight for him. All right, let's talk about probably the most skilled fight on the card. Sergio Pettis versus Patchy mix. Unreal. How good both these guys are. Pettis having to be defensive along the fence. Mix picks Pettis up and carries him across the cage and dumps him. I thought he would have slammed him there. It was really weird. He also didn't carry him to his corner. That was weird. Lots of top control for Mix and not much else in this first round. 10-9. Easy to call that one. Second round. Why don't they have the highlights? Mix wraps up Pettis and gets to the back. Mix traps the arm and gets a rear naked choke. Absolutely fantastic finish for him. What a beautiful finish. Mix just looks bigger. He looks stronger. He looks just as competent at what he does. So it's hard to deny him. It's hard to say that he loses in any matchup in this weight class, to be honest. I think he's fantastic. I was hoping I could find the highlights of that for you guys. Don't see it. Nope. Great finish. I do recommend going to watch that. The last two fights on this card were really good and worth watching. Some of the other ones which we'll get into. Maybe not. Maybe this one, if you like shit talking, maybe this one's for you. It was an okay fight. Raufeon Stots versus Danny Sabatello. Okay. Oh, boy. Sabatello coming out with the knee. Stots landing a nice right hand, and then Sabatello with the high kicks partially landing. Sabatello getting the takedown, not doing much with it. Stots landing a three-punch combo. Sabatello getting the takedown again, but to get right back up. Stott reverses the body lock throw, and then Sabatello gets his own. This first round was relatively exciting with the grappling. It was actually a lot of fun. Stots probably landed the better shots in this round. And, Sabatello could have got it with one of those high kicks if it wobbled Stots, but I just didn't see Stots get hurt by one of those high kicks. So I had a 10-9 to Stots. Second round, Sabatello going for the right high kick a whole bunch. Stots counters with a left hand. Sabatello using the throw by to get the back of Stots. It was a beautiful move that he did twice in this round. So smooth. He just couldn't do anything with it. Every time he would get to the back, Stots would just work his way out of it. He's got really bad back control, and Stots is just really good at getting out of it, right? And now you know why in the first fight he refused to go from mount to back control, and he just kept position in mount. It's because his back control is not there yet. Stots was able to counter everything that Sabatello did in this round, even if he didn't land some of those shots against the fence, which, the commentary team is like, whoa, he's throwing shit. Go back and watch him. He's landing some on the shoulder, some on the gloves, not really landing a ton of damage in those shots, but he was the one putting offense out there. Stots had the second round, easy peasy, 28-18. Last round, Stots landing a left hand. Sabatello goes for a takedown immediately. Stops, attempts a takedown, ends up in an anaconda attempt. It wasn't really there. I wouldn't have given this last round to Sabatello just for that anaconda attempt that, in my opinion, wasn't close enough. So you have to have an understanding of the position. And if you know how the anaconda works, it's different. Obviously, it's different than the Darce. So it's unlikely that you're going to get a crank type pain sort of finish with the anaconda. There's a lot more meat involved in there. And it's, you've got the soft part of your arm and then their arm. It's really got to be a blood choke and constricting from both sides. Obviously, that's why they call it the anaconda. But anyway, with the Darce, you can kind of weasel your way in there and make it painful and get a little bit of a neck crank as well. That just was not happening. And obviously, this wasn't the Darce. So I wouldn't. The reason why I'm bringing all this up is, some people might say, oh, well, he was defending a submission. Kind of. He was defending a submission, but the submission was never close to finishing, and he had done so much in that round already. He landed that big shot. This easily was Stots' round. I had him winning 30-27. Looking at the judges' scorecards here, all three judges had it 29-28 in favor of Stots. I guess that first round was pretty close, so you can, waver back and forth on that one. Like I said, I thought Stots did a better job this fight of questioning not questioning, not even answering all the questions, just silencing all the doubters, right? Anybody who thought Sabatello's with his control in that first fight should have got the win. Stots just put an end to all that. I thought he did a fantastic job. I think he is the better fighter for sure right now, and I don't know how much Sabatello is going to change in the future, but unless it's a year from, unless he makes some crazy leaps and bounds, Stots just seems to have his number. Not a bad fight though. AJ McKee versus Sidney Outlaw. Not a good one, guys. Not a good one. Bloody, very bloody, just not a good fight. I don't have any highlights for you here either. This was just not good. McKee starts with a hard body kick, and Outlaw uses that to get it to the ground. This was just a shit round. Outlaw was on top, and he did literally nothing. This happened so much on this card. It was frustrating to watch this whole thing. I do not recommend watching the prelims, and then especially don't watch the prelims and then the main card. Pick some fights that you're interested in. Go watch some other reviews of it. If you're listening to me talk you through them, and you see that oh, hey, that sounds exciting. Go pick and choose which ones you want to. Do not put this on in the background and then just let it play through. You will waste. This is a waste of your internet data. All right. Whether you got Comcast or whoever else is out there, Cox Cable, this is not worth your internet data. Don't do it. Second round, McKee lands the jab push kick. And this is not McKee's fault, by the way. I thought he could have done a better job to get off his back. I think he's a better grappler than what he showed here. We saw it in moments in the second round, which we'll talk about. But I think this is on Outlaw. And then possibly the referee. Again, I'm not a fan of breakups. I just don't think we should be rewarding people for doing this. And we'll talk about it. They didn't, which is good. McKee lands the jab and the push kick. McKee with another body kick that gets caught. Again, McKee busting Outlaw up bad with some elbows while he defends the takedown, and Outlaw lets McKee get his head higher. He just hips over into mount. He just a simple hip escape. He shoved Outlaw's head down, got his head higher, and then pushed his hips over and went right into mount. I mean, the guy's got some fundamental grappling skills, and he's a strong dude. And to do that to Outlaw like that which looked like it was easy. And then he just gave position back again. I know he did a ton of damage from the bottom, and that's fine, but I'd rather see him be on top or back in standing. Because they reversed back on Outlaw. He's bleeding everywhere, but he's on top again. And then I said, I don't know how you can give this round to Outlaw. He did 0 damage, so I had 19-19. Because that first round I gave to Outlaw, I feel like McKee didn't land that much. And a lot of that stuff off his back didn't do a ton of damage. The second round, it absolutely did. Third round, McKee with a great jab. McKee gets a takedown, and then Outlaw gets on top and holds him down yet again. But he did not do a damn thing. So I had it 29-28 for McKee, but all three judges had it 30-27 in favor of McKee. Good call by them. Do not reward people for just laying in praying. That's not cool. This was good. I'm glad that they did that. Patricky Pitbull versus Alexander Shabliy. Very slow start. Shabliy has an eye poke early on. Pitbull landing a few hard low kicks. Shabliy doing a better job keeping his offense out there, right? He's just throwing more out there. Easy 10-9 for Shabliy. Shabliy countering the low kick with a hard straight right hand. Conservative fight from both guys, 20-18 for Shabliy. Shabliy pressuring forward and Pitbull not countering enough, wanting to extend. He doesn't want to extend himself. It looks like Pitbull landed a hook and tried to chase him down, but Shabliy just plants his feet, counters, and I wrote down, I was like, these fights are starting to get to me. They are, man. It was kind of getting rough to watch them when they're playing like this technical stand-up where they don't want to extend themselves. They're not willing to take risks. And then later, I don't know. Pitbull starts to open up with the hooks, partially landing, but Shabliy shells up and avoids most of the damage. Both guys swing hooks after an overextension. Shabliy got the best of it. Pitbull's forced to back up. Shabliy had him hurt, just didn't capitalize on it. Still an easy round to score, 40-26 for sure. And then this last round, Shabliy wins the last round, picking him apart. Not the most entertaining fight either, 50-45. I don't think either fighter was doing a bad job. It's just one of those ones where I think it suffered from being on a card with a lot of boring decisions. If this was if there were action fights in between this and then this kind of broke that up, it might have had the opposite effect. Maybe this would have been the low point. I think this was a fine fight, but after watching nearly 4 hours of relatively boring fights and boring decisions and lots of laying and praying and then going to the main card, I was already kind of beat down, so this was kind of rough to watch. Overall, like I said, Bellator 301, probably not the one to go watch front to back or back to front. If you're going to wait for this to appear on YouTube because you don't have Paramount Plus, that's fine. I totally understand that. I think Sergio Pettis, Patchy mix fight, it is worth your time to watch Patchy mix and Sergio Pettis fight anytime. I think they're fantastic. The main event with Yaroslav Amosov versus Jason Jackson. Again, awesome to see Jason Jackson. I think he has a lot of skills, and we'll see how he applies them going forward. The Raufeon Stots, Danny Sabatello fight. It's one of those ones where, if you're into the storyline and you think it's interesting, it'll amplify that fight just a little bit. But the other two fights, you could skip them. I think that they just weren't worth your time unless you're a hardcore fan. In which case, why you even listen to other people's opinions about watching stuff? And then the prelims. We'll talk about that in the next video. So I appreciate you all for stopping by. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. That way you know the next video is coming out. If you like this video, hit the like button. Appreciate y'all. It means a lot to me that you guys watch here all the time. Love you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing week.